You ever wonder how your favorite app just knows? How it can instantly find that one photo or message or that order you placed from literally billions of pieces of data? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a hidden structure, an invisible architecture. And in this explainer, we're not just going to pull back the curtain, we're going to hand you the architect's blueprint.
Okay, so imagine two scenarios. Over here on the left, you've got a giant, messy pile of information. It's like a digital junk drawer. Total chaos. But on the right, you have this perfectly organized digital library where finding anything is instantaneous. That's clarity. And you know what? The difference between these two is the entire reason our digital world actually functions. So the big question is, how do we get from that messy pile to the pristine library?
Well, to get from that chaos to some real clarity, you don't just start tidying up randomly. No. You bring in an architect, a master planner who can design a system that doesn't just hold the information, but makes it truly powerful.
And in the world of data, this architect has a name. It's called a database management system, or DBMS for short. Think of the DBMS as the powerful software, the general contractor for our data that oversees the entire project. It's not the data itself, but it's the system that manages, protects, and gives structure to all of it.
So what's on our architect's to-do list? It really boils down to 4 key jobs. First, it defines the rules. It sets the very foundation of our structure. Then it constructs the space to store everything safely. After that, it gives us the tools to manipulate the data, so we can ask questions and make changes. And finally, and this is a big one, it manages sharing, making sure tons of people can access the data all at once without causing a total collapse. So, we've got our architect, the DBMS, but they can't just start building, right? Every great project, every great building starts with a great blueprint. In the world of data, you absolutely must plan before you lay a single digital brick. There's this classic principle in design. You've probably heard it. Form follows function. It just means the shape of something should be based on its purpose. Well, the same is absolutely true for data. The function of our database, what we need it to do, dictates the form of our plan. Honestly, this planning stage is probably the most critical part of the entire process.
And this official blueprint, it has a name, the Entity Relationship Model. You'll hear it called the ER model. It's the industry standard, kind of like the universal language for drawing out the plan of our new digital building. All right, let's dive into this blueprint. How do we actually draw it? It all comes down to 2 really simple concepts that we can think of as the rooms and the hallways of our data house. First up, we have the rooms. In database speak, a room is called an entity. It's basically any major concept or object that we want to keep track of. So if we're building a university database, a student is a perfect example of an entity. If we were building an online store, a product would be an entity. It's any key thing we need to store information about. Now, every room has features, right? A bed, a desk, a window. Well, in our student entity, these features are called attributes. They are the specific pieces of information we want to store about each student. Their ID, their name, their major, their email, you get the idea. But a building is way more than just a bunch of separate rooms. It's all about how they connect. You need hallways, you need doors. In our blueprint, those connectors are called relationships. They're the links, the associations, that bring our separate rooms together into something that actually works. So let's put it all together. Here we have the student entity, one of our rooms, and the course entity, another room. The relationship enrolls in, acts as the bridge, the hallway, connecting them. And just like that, we've created a map of our data. This simple structure is the absolute foundation of our entire blueprint. Okay, so our blueprint is drawn. We've got rooms and hallways connecting them. But in a building with thousands, maybe millions of rooms, how do we find a specific one? We need a bulletproof address system. Let's think about a real-world problem. Imagine a big university with thousands and thousands of students. It is almost guaranteed that there's going to be more than one student named Alex. So if we search for Alex, how on earth does the system know exactly which one we're looking for? The solution is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Even though we have 2 students here named Alex, notice they each have a completely unique student ID. That ID number becomes their unique address. It doesn't matter if 100 students share the same name, no 2 can ever share the same ID. This unique identifier has a special name. It's called the primary key. It is the single most important attribute for any entity. It's the guarantee that every single entry, every student, every product, every single order can be found instantly and with zero confusion. It is the unique room number for every room in our building.
And you know, this primary key is actually part of a whole family of keys that are used in database design. You have things like foreign keys, for example, which are super important for linking different tables together. We won't dive deep into all that today, but it just goes to show you how sophisticated this system of organization really is.
So let's zoom out for a second. We started with a chaotic digital mess, a pile of stuff. But with an architect, our DBS, and a detailed blueprint, our model, we've designed and built something incredible, an organized, logical, and instantly searchable digital structure.
And that really brings us to the end. The next time you use any app, social media, a shopping site, anything, think about this blueprint. Think about the entities, the relationships, and the keys working tirelessly behind the scenes. So now that you know the plan, where do you see these invisible structures holding up your digital world?